everybody. Thought we'd do our close-up in the annex today with the new kids, Port and her little orange boys, or as DJ has officially named the class, it is Port's Oranges, which is, a play on the port city of Port Orange. It is Port's Oranges because they're all orange boys, and because that's a place and because that's the theme for the class names, for this class name, I should say. The kittens, all the little boys, are named after port cities. Basically, port cities. So there you have it. Because they're named from cities all around the world, I'm sure to pronounce some of them differently than the people in those places would, and I'm always interested in learning things like how people pronounce things where they are, but I'm going to tell you right now, I probably won't even try to get those pronunciations correct. I'll just going to do it the way that I'm familiar with them. Look at her beautiful eyes. Oh, so pretty. I think she's about to fall asleep, though. So that's our mom. She's Port. And these are her eight little orange boys. And we're going to pull them out and look at them because I need to talk to you about their markings and stuff. As you can see, we have marked each of them. That's what that is. It's a little spot that is shaved and dyed. And I understand it looks pretty awful, actually. It's just not very visually appealing the way that we've done this. But we're just trying to find the best way to get it done. And we've found one way here now that works. It doesn't look great. So I think we're on the road to finding something that both works and looks okay. But it certainly gets the job done, and that's what's important right now. I will say that having them, being able to tell them apart has been super important, and their weights so far are fantastic. They're all getting good gains and very healthy. And the fact that we can tell them apart is contributing to our ability to track that correctly. So it is very important for us to be able to tell them apart. We need some kind of marking with this class to do that. But we could do that with just the shaving. We added the food dye because that makes it a little easier to tell on the camera who's who. And that's kind of for you, and it's kind of for DJ and I when we're watching on the cameras, as we do so often. But it's also important. It also is a lot easier to pick out than the shaved bits for some of these kittens. So, working out pretty well. So let's see. First off, before I forget, there were a couple things that I wanted to share with all of you the other day that I forgot about time spent in the spa with the kids downstairs, the Brady bunch. So the things that I wanted to say about that, first off, I know there's always somebody who's asking what and why is the spa? The spa is just what we call the master bedroom, and we like to bring the cats that we foster to spend the night there when they get big enough. It's kind of an experience in trying something new and getting acclimated to different experiences, and also because we can crank the TV up in there, and then they get a little more exposure to noises. And being exposed to those kinds of sounds is also important. So that's where and why we do it. And the thing I'd wanted to share that I forgot about was, let's see, there were two things. Let's see if I can remember them both. One of them was that Loganberry found a toy that is his favorite thing in the whole world. It's one of these little worm toys. I can't really describe it, but it is like a little worm on a string with a bell, and he was so excited to find this thing. All he wants to do all day long is play fetch with it. And he will bring it to me and just meow and insist and paw at me and do whatever he can do to get my attention so that I will throw it. And then he runs after it and grabs it and brings it right back. So while Flower and her kids were in the annex with us, not the annex, in the spa with us, And meanwhile, Loganberry had found this toy. He's locked out because he can't be in there with Flower, of course. So he comes up with his toy and just starts banging on the door to get my attention over and over and over. And he would do it like 2 in the morning, and woke us all up. And I went out there and actually threw it for him like 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, I'm going to bed, bud. And so I went back to bed. And an hour later, he's there banging on the door again as loud as he can. And it is noisy. It's very noisy. So eventually I had to sort of block him off from that. I put a pillow in front of the door. That way he couldn't stand there and hit the door at the same time. That worked out pretty well. But it's really cute how much he loves having a toy to play fetch with. He's just that's his thing still. It's very cute that way. If I get a chance, I'll show you the toy. Let's see. Now there was something about Flower. Oh, I know what it was that I wanted to share about Flower. When she was in the spa, like I said, one of the things that we do that for is so that they can get used to TV noises. And we had the TV on, but we were watching the Kitten Academy live stream with these kids on it, and these kids were talking, they were making all kinds of noises at their mom, and every time they would make noises, Flower got real excited and ran to the speakers and was trying to look at the speakers and try to figure out where the kittens were at. And I honestly think Flower wanted to help out. Like, I think her mom instinct is just so strong that she hears a little kitten, she's like, I gotta go take care of that thing. Which really goes to the point about her not getting along too great with the faculty either. She's so protective of little kittens. But I just thought it was really something that as soon as these guys made noise, she ran to the speakers, and so I turned the sound off. And then when DJ came back, I wanted to see if she'd do it again, so I turned the sound back on, and sure enough, as soon as it started squeaking, she ran to the speaker again to see what was going on. So it was really cute, and Flower's just a great mom for her little kittens. Flower is the one downstairs, by the way, if you're watching. It's not the mom cat we're looking at here. It's the Brady Bunch's mom who's downstairs, who was on yesterday's close-up. So she's super sweet, but I wanted to tell you all about that, and I had forgotten to mention those things that had happened. So I thought it was really cute, though. So let's talk about the names for all these kids, because I mentioned they have names, and if you're on our Discord or if you follow us on Twitter, then you already know because I've posted the cheat sheets there. Plus, DJ added the names to the weight chart too. So if you ever watch the weight chart, you have the names there as well. But I would like to sort of try to introduce each of them if we can, and I also want to show you their little spots up close. So we're going to try to see if we can interrupt them a little bit. And plus, Hal here is not nursing at the moment. He's just laying here, so he's a good one to start with. So this is little Halifax, or Hal, and I can tell because his spot is on his head. And what that is, like I mentioned, it's a shaved spot where we shaved his fur, which we did before we figured out how to keep a marking on there. Mom was licking the food dye that we used. We used that food pen that I showed you guys before. Here it is. This is a food marker, edible ink marker, it says, for drawing on cakes and things. And it really doesn't make a very strong mark. And then Mom, Port, would clean them as she does, as she's doing right now. And when she would clean them, the marks would come right off. They wouldn't even last 4 hours. So if I wasn't in here like every 3 hours, I wouldn't be able to tell which kitten was which anymore. Wouldn't work. So it really was not working for us. And everybody wrote in to suggest ways to deal with that. And they were all really good suggestions. Things like the surgical pens, which, by the way, DJ has surgical pens. I didn't know that. But she has some. She even brought one in here for us to mark the kittens with. And I said, I don't know for sure. Yeah, I bet it would have been just fine, actually. I really bet it would have. But I read some stuff on the internet that I'm not even going to go into that really, I was like, oh, you never know what you're going to read on the internet. And it was people that clearly didn't know what they were talking about, but it still gave me a worry. So we didn't use a surgical pen, but it was a great idea, I think, a really good one. I saw people write in about lipstick and the fact that the kitten lady uses lipstick. And that I watched her video on it actually. It's a very good video, and really seems like that works great for her. My complaints about that are first off, DJ doesn't have any liquid lipstick. It's not her thing, so we didn't have any. But also, the kittens that she's demonstrating it on are like 4 months old in the video, and you can just put a collar on a kitten that's that old. That's what we would do. Um, So I thought that was a difference between, a 4-month-old kitten can put up with a lot more than a newborn, and you've got to at least take that into consideration. Um, I'm not saying that lipstick wouldn't have worked for the newborns. I bet it would, but we just have sort of an abundance of caution. And then on top of that, there was the fact that she's like, this is, it's vegan lipstick, and it's made to put on your face and your lips, and you eat a lot of it, and it's safe for humans, so we know it's good. And again, I'm absolutely sure that she is correct that it is fine for all cats and even kittens like these. But it doesn't. The fact that it is vegan and the fact that it is safe for humans doesn't really say anything about whether it's safe for kittens. And I don't think we have anything to go on there except for the fact that she's using it. She didn't offer any, sort of evidence for that, except for the fact, again, that she was using it successfully for so long. So that's good evidence too. I mean, that works out, but there just wasn't anything there. We had a lot of other things too. Like people mentioned livestock markers, and I looked into those. They're made of like a wax, they're actually like giant crayons in a way, but much stickier than crayons. That just sounded like a disaster. Like it would just make the biggest mess in the universe. It was a cool idea because I'd never heard of livestock markers, but once I saw them and saw them being used, I was like, oh, there is no way. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think what else people suggested. We had really good suggestions all around, and there's some that I might even still use if this doesn't continue to work out for us, or if we decide to try something that might be easier for some reason. But anyway, that's those are some of the things that we looked at and didn't do. What we did do was we switched from that marker that I just showed you to a gel food dye. It's just that's what it is. It's just a food dye that comes in a gel format, so it's much more concentrated. I picked black because I thought black would show up the best, even though at this point, by the way, I got on Amazon and I ordered like every kind of food dye in the universe to try out or to look at, which means I have like the world's biggest supply of food dye probably outside of a cake shop. It's really extreme. Anyway, I picked black because I thought it would show up really well, and in fact, it does show up really well. A little too well, I think, in a way. It's just super bold. She's not cleaning it off too quickly. We've had it on now for a day, and most of them still have their spots are perfectly visible. So I don't know when we're going to have to reapply it, but it looks like it's good for a while. And that's nice. We like that. So I think this is really working well. Oh yeah, there were a couple of things that people suggested that were really good ideas too, like dyes that are made for actually painting pets. They've got people that like to paint like their dogs and stuff. And some of those seem like they would have been perfect, except they all said not for use on little babies, not for little puppies, and not for little kittens. Which is, probably they only say that to be safe because they can't test it. But, again, it's another case of we got something that's working right now. It's good enough. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys all the names, and I got off on a tangent about how we were marking them, and I'm glad we talked about it. But here's what I want to show you. So first off, we had Hal, and Hal's still not nursing, so let's take him again. This is little Halifax. Halifax has the mark on his head. And as you can see, all the marks are going to be spots where I've shaved them so I could see it. And then after that, I dyed them, and that works. And so I probably wouldn't have to shave them again. We can just use the dye in the future, but that's already done. And someone on the chat said, well, now you can shave their spots much smaller. And I'm like, well, yeah, except I can't just unshave them. I wish we could. I'd do something about my bald head. Anyway, DJ made a cheat sheet that shows the name of each kitten. Oh, I know. Now he's getting squirmy. Shows the name of each kitten where their mark is on the cheat sheet. So Halifax here is up on the head, and Halifax here has got a spot on the head. And that's how I'm going to be telling them apart for quite a while, is looking at the cheat sheet, because it's going to take me a long time to get all of these names down. But if we just work our way through, oh wait, I got to show you these kittens before I pick them up, because look how cute they are, all snuggled together back there. There's one at the back that I can't, oh, Mom moved so we can't even see. There we go. Look at how cute they are. All tired out. Mom's still purring. Anyway, where was I going now? I was looking for our second kitten, if I'm going in the weight sheet order, and he's right here. And we can tell because this one has the spot right in the middle of his back, right in the middle, as you can see, and that makes him Dover. Dover, right in the middle of his back is the spot for Dover. He's got a couple things to say about it. I'm trying to get some good light for little Dover here. Look how cute he is, too. Oh, I know, he's got a little bit to say about all that. Okay, so there's Dover. That's the second one. Then the third one I remember, just because he had such a memorable spot, is Bombay. DJ says that Hindi people, people who speak Hindi, I should say, pronounce it more like Bombay. I can't say it that way correctly at all, because I can't do that accent to save my life. But that's why I'm going to say Bombay. I already explained that I'm not even going to try to pronounce things correctly. But there you see the marking is by his bottom. And here we have right in the middle, by his bottom, a big old shave spot and the black mark on Bombay. So that's our little boy Bombay. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. Look how cute you are, though. Okay, okay. Put you right back in there. All right, now it's going to get a little trickier because here we go. Actually, I just got lucky. This is Puget. Puget is the one with the mark on his right arm, his right front arm. And you can see I didn't try to get it down on the arm because I was shaving them and that would have been too difficult. But instead it's up on his shoulder. So he's got the little black mark on his right shoulder. And that makes him, according to the cheat sheet on the right, she put it down by the feet because otherwise it would be difficult, but that's Puget there. And there we go, Puget. And I guess before anybody says anything about it, we know that there is no Port Puget. There's no city of Port Puget or Puget Port or anything like that. There's Puget Sound in Washington State in the United States, and that is what Little Puget is named for. But DJ specifically said that she thought the name was so cute that she could stretch the rules a little bit for Little Puget here and name him, even though it's not technically a port city. And also, it gave me a chance to use one of my favorite jokes that you are going to hear way too much now. Because someone on the chat said there is no Port Puget, there's no Puget Port, and I said, "Who made you the Port Authority?" Which, like I said, is a joke that you are going to hear way too much, especially in response to that sort of comment. So anyway, that's little Puget with his mark on the right shoulder. And then we're going to look for a kitten with the mark on his left shoulder. Now I got to dig through everybody to find it. This is something that I've been doing for all the weigh-ins. Here we go, left shoulder. You were nursing, but you can go back to it. So there's the mark on the left shoulder. And this is our little boy, Rotterdam. Little Rotterdam, or Roddy, or Otter. We won't call him by the last part of his name because that's just rude. So there we go, little Rotterdam. Then we move on to, let's see, our back right. Whoever's got the marking on the, there we go, right there. Just happened to grab him first. He's nursing too, but he, like I said, he can go right back to it. He'll be fine. Oh, they've had such great gains, by the way. They're really good at the nursing thing. So this one has the marking on his back right haunch. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Again, not actually on the leg because I was, like I said, shaving and marking, and I didn't want to try to get too far down the leg, but you'll have to sort of look carefully to see if it's Bombay or not by whether the spot is in the middle or on the side. It's a little tricky, I get it. Anyway, that makes this one Antwerp. According to the sheet, that's the back right leg is Antwerp. Here we go, buddy. He's got places to be. He's like, I would like to go back to what I was doing, please. Oh, okay. Hang on. There we go, pal. Hi. Oh, okay. He's got a lot to say about it. Okay, Antwerp, right back in there, buddy. Good job. Now, I put you right by a nipple. You can find it. Then we move on to the left back leg, which we see is right here. That spot's starting to come off a little bit, but then again, I didn't put a whole drop on him. I just used the Q-tip that was already dirty on him, so that's why it's wearing off earlier than the others. And that makes him back left, sorry, is Sydney. Sydney, right there, you can see Sydney. Hi, Sid. Sydney. Yeah, you've got a lot to say about it too, don't you? So there is our little Sydney. Okay, we'll put you right back. And then our final kitten is the one with the mark on his belly, which is going to be the hardest to find, I think. We just kind of got to go by the one where we don't see the spot until we flip him over. That's going to be Rio. Let's see if we can't find him. Is he? No, not there. Okay, see, it's got the mark on the back. That's Bombay there. It's going to take me a lot of practice to get all these names. Nope, he's got a mark on the can see. Nope. Okay, that brings you all the way to the front. That's this guy right here, I bet. Let's see, right here. There it is. So it's again, there's the big mark on his belly. You see it now. It looks like he got a little bit of it on his paws too while we were painting everybody, but that's okay. So that makes this Rio. Rio right there, according to the sheet. Hi, Rio. There we go. So as I mentioned, yes, the dye is food dye or food coloring. It's the gel kind, and like I said, it's working a little too well. I should have probably picked a color that wasn't black, that looks a little clear on the screen, but couldn't be anything except for food dye, like maybe green, especially for St. Patrick's Day today. Green would have been appropriate. But I'm not going to paint them again while they've still got some on them, so we'll just have to be late to St. Patrick's Day, just like we're late to almost everything. So that's little Rio. So let me take a minute now at the end here to talk about something else. A couple other things that I think are important notes for people, especially people that haven't seen us do this before. If you are one of those people, by the way, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you tuning in to watch the kittens. Um, a couple things. First off, everybody has seen that Port has been panting a little bit sometimes, breathing fast or having her mouth open. That's real normal for a mom cat, especially a little mom cat like she is that's given birth to 8 boys. They're all boys. Especially in those cases, we would expect to see her panting on and off for actually probably a couple weeks. So you won't see it all the time, but when you do see it, that's normal. It doesn't mean that she's actually too hot. It's just part of the way that things work for mom cats. I actually found somebody had posted on our Twitter and on our Discord chat that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2018, somebody wrote an article based on us about mom cats panting, and there wasn't a lot of information in it, but I thought the way that they worded some things and what they talked about was really interesting. I'll have to share it maybe on our Twitter myself, and that way everybody can see it. Anyway, so mom cat's panting, real normal, and you will see that from her still, and that's what we would expect. Um, I already pointed out that all the little weird spots are food coloring, and it's there on purpose. And I know it looks really strange on the cameras, but that is what it is. I wanted to say, what else did I want to say? Some of the normal things, seeing them fight each other is not just normal, but really good for them. That's how they build up their little muscles and interact also. So you're going to see them fight back and forth and hit each other and try to work for the same nipple. Real normal stuff and healthy. It's good for them. On the topic of that, we've got a real soft bottom in this box, and Mom is real soft herself. Boop. So it is also normal for Mom to sometimes lay down on one of the kittens. Port is really careful about that. I've hardly seen her do it, and when she does, she usually gets up and gets them out from under her right away. But you don't have to panic if she does lay on a kitten; they can take it. She's been laying on them for a couple months, and they were even smaller then. So definitely not an issue if she does. Um, there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, I wanted to say that yes, you just saw me pick each of the kittens up and deal with them, and Port was fine with it, by the way, which is great. Each of the kittens complained quite a bit, which is normal. In fact, they actually are complaining a lot less than some kittens do when I pick them up, especially when I want to hold them on their back, like I'm doing right now, or sort of manipulate them while I'm talking. This is Halifax again, just by chance. Um, so we always, with every new class, we always get some people that want to tell us not to handle the kittens or not to handle them so much. But that's not the right way to do things, in my very strong opinion. I think it's very important to handle them and to do it as much as you can, and to sort of, like I've said before, you want to push their boundaries a little bit, but not too much. You got to do it just right. So, um, some of the reasons that it is important is just for socialization, and so that they're used to having people touching them and playing with them, and you want to start that learning from as early as you possibly can, so that when they do get adopted and they're bigger cats, they love people. And this is one of the ways that you teach them to get used to that, is by manipulating them as often as you can, really. So every time I come in here, I like to do what I call annoying them. I like to annoy all the kittens so that they get used to being annoyed by people, and that's important. It's a good lesson for them. It's also important because it gives us a chance to find out if they are having any issues. There's a lot of things that you can find out about a kitten just by feeling them. You make sure that all their bits feel right, and that they don't have like a belly that's full of poop because they're constipated. You can feel that if you're playing with them all the time, or vice versa. They're not too skinny is something you can feel when you feel them, whether you feel their ribs or not, that kind of thing. So that's important. And let's not forget Millet, who's still here from the last class, and who we will end up talking about, I think, soon. Millet has the flat-chested kitten syndrome, or pectus excavatum, which, like I said on our website, is not a Harry Potter spell to demold a gelatin. It is a kitten that has a unusually flat rib cage, and I would never have found that about Millet if it wasn't for annoying him, picking him up and annoying him all the time. And there's plenty of things that you can discover like that. And so it's not just important to get them socialized, and it's not just fun, because they do feel wonderful, but it's also it's important for health reasons. So there you have it. So I just wanted to say that to people that want to write in and be like, "Oh my gosh, don't annoy the kittens so much. What's wrong with you? Just leave them alone." Well, there's nothing wrong with me, and I think it's important. So we're going to keep doing it. And I think that you guys should consider that if you are someone who sees it and goes, "Oh my gosh, why does he play with the kittens so much?" Now you know. It's something to think about anyway. Just look at her. She's such a sweet mom to her little kittens. I mean, can you imagine 8 boys? Just you go from just minding your own business, running around, and all of a sudden there's 8 boys out of nowhere, and what are you gonna do? She's a great mom that way. So we're gonna wrap it up, but I did, before we wrap it up, just want to mention Millet, since I brought up Millet from the Brady bunch that are downstairs. And I know everybody wants to know how he's doing, and I know I talked a little bit about his condition in the last close-up, and I said I don't know what's going on for sure. I did get an email late last night from our vet, who's always on the case, and all that it really said was that she had talked to some more people and that I should talk to her today. So that's still on my list of things to do. I will end up talking to her today. I think it's going to be some news about Millet and what we should do with him. And once we find out, I will let you all know. I just wanted to let you know that she is still on the case. She does just a great job. Like I said, she never stops. I can email her night or day or text her or even call her if I'm really desperate. And she's always there for us. Just the best vet you could possibly have. And I should point out, she was that great to us even before she knew, like who we are and what we do. It's not just because we're Kitten Academy that we get the good attention. I think she does that for all of her clients, and it's just great. It's hard to find a good vet, but Dr. Katz certainly is one at Aristocats in Fairfield, in Connecticut. I almost feel like I shouldn't mention her by name and where she's at because she's going to get too busy and she won't have time for us anymore. I can't imagine that happening, but she's just wonderful. So anyway, all right, there we go. I've gone on long enough. You guys have seen all the kittens. I hope I did an okay job keeping things interesting. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about kittens and names and colors and annoying kittens. Maybe I annoyed you too. That's good. You'll be better socialized in the future, and that's important. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to the mods for modding. I didn't see most of what people said, but I did see the mods were doing some work in there, so thanks for that. And as always, thanks to all of you for watching, just watching even. Some of you do a lot more than watch. Some of you are on our Patreon and all the other stuff, but even just watching is a big help to us because that's how we get kittens adopted. There's one of those fights I was talking about. All right, well, I will leave you with the sound of our mom cat purring.